in your day, even if that thing was a failure, right? If you said, I made this call, it didn't work out, I got to figure out something else, but I'm going to go on to the other tasks. There were other productive things that would have made your day very valuable, but that one thing held you back.
Yes, but for the fact that from that, I started analyzing some of the things in my life, and I came up with the Super Bowl syndrome. I found all the symptoms for a Super Bowl, and I call myself a Super Bowl all the time. And you know, Super Bowls, when you bounce them, they look like they're a hot mess, right? But if I took this Super Bowl and I threw it directly to you, would it get to you?
Oh, of course not.
No, of course it would, because I'm throwing it directly to you. Well, maybe not through the.
I'm sorry, right now, no.
No, right now, no. It would be a hell of a.
But if you threw it, yes, you would. I'm sorry.
Because you're far away from me. But if we were in the same room, I should have specified that. That's on me. I take full responsibility for that. If we were in the same, 100%.
All right, we're in the same room. Yes.
If we're in the same room and I throw it directly to you, will it get to you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the same thing. If we stay in our zone of genius, we will get things accomplished. Had I just stayed in my zone of genius, the no is a no day one. It didn't change anything over the 2.5 weeks, and the staying in the zone and having that fear. And let's talk about fear. Fear, to me, is interchangeable with the word stress. You hear people use that term, overuse that term all the time now. Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. What are you stressed about? Well, I won't be able to make my bills. That's fear. What are you stressed about? Give me some examples of things you'd be stressed about.
Deadline that I need to meet for getting a particular project completed.
Okay. And what would happen if you didn't get that project completed on time?
I would disappoint a client.
Yeah. Okay. And isn't that equate to fear?
Yeah, there's the level of fear. And that creates stress.
Yeah, and it does. So fear and stress are interchangeable terminology. Right. You know, so everybody being stressed out is they're worried about an outcome. So what can you do to reduce your stress and reduce your level of fear? Where's your power? Your point of power is in your response. So if I'm worried about hitting that deadline, then I need to work on it now so that I do hit the deadline. So I have to change that. So instead of spending all this energy worrying about hitting it, why don't you just work on it?
But that is exactly, therein lies the key. That's the critical component. And we you know, in the end, we have no choice, right? We have to face it. So why not take it on right from the beginning?
Always two choices, though, Vince. I'm going to correct you on that. There's always two choices. If you don't hit it head on, you're going to continue having all that stress and that fear. If you do rip off the Band-Aid and hit it head on, doesn't the fear and the stress go away because you're getting it accomplished? Right. So it acts as an excuse. Oh, I have all these things to do. Okay. Put them in priority order and let's start attacking them one by one, right?
That's why it is funny you say that, because I'll take it to a simple thing. Sometimes you know something, there's something coming up that you have, and you have so much anxiety or stress up to that moment. You get through that moment and you just feel you feel yourself, you're like, all right, I'm much better now, right?
Yeah.
What was the difference between 5 minutes ago and 5 minutes later? It was really how you processed and what you controlled.
Yeah, I know this answer. It's called having I got it. I know this answer. We are typically thinking things catastrophically. Oh my God, it's going to fail. Go back to that word failure. It's not going to happen in time. Back to failure. Fear of failure. All of that stress is leading up to, what if it doesn't look this way? What if the day doesn't plan out this way? What if she or he is not happy with this? It's fear of failure. So why don't we shift our mindset and think anastrofically, like, this is going to be great. And I'm going to enjoy however this turns out. So a bridezilla is a great catastrophic type person who is trying to control freak every second of what's going to happen on her day of the wedding, which she has zero control over, by the way, because the weather's going to be the weather, and the people who show up are the people who show up, and the people who don't show up are the people who aren't going to show up. And if everybody has fun or doesn't have fun, it has nothing to do with you, because you are giving them everything they possibly can do to have fun. That's on them. That's not on you. But instead of being that way, if you could just anatrophically go through and think anastrophic, which is a positive, way that this is going to be a great day and whatever happens and the people who show up are the most important people. Sometimes, and I know I've done this, it's like, oh, I have a house full of people. I'm so excited, but Vince never showed up, bastard. He just decided not to show up. And I'm having a terrible time because all I'm doing is thinking about Vince not being there. But what am I doing? I'm not paying attention to the very people who did show up. And Vince might not have been able to be there for a very good reason, but now I'm putting myself all through this inner dialogue, which is not nice to myself or to Vince, because I'm upset that he's not showing up. So we need to really dig down and what is really the thing that's bothering us? What is really the thing that's stressing us out? Does that make sense to you, Vince?
It does make sense because
it looks like you're stressing out over this. So I didn't mean.
Well, no, I was just going to say that I can understand, like, if I didn't show up to the party, why you would be that focused on it, because it would change the tenor. But that's a
for God's sake. It really would. You are the center of attraction always, my friend.
But with that, no, but that's true. Is if we dig down just a little more and we kind of recognize, but I think that fear keeps you at the superficial level, and it keeps you backing away from facing really what is the reality of what needs to be faced.
And fear is keeping you back from failure, which is the yumminess of finding new success. Without that failure of me, spending that 2.5 weeks beating the crap out of myself and thinking all these worst things, had I not done that and had I just called them day one, I wouldn't have put myself through all that. I also wouldn't have discovered the Super Bowl syndrome, but that's the yumminess. And so sometimes, or all the time, failure is a great opportunity to get us closer to success. And that fear is what holds us back from just trying things out. Listen, I feared getting on my motorcycle and taking a ride up with a group of people because I'd never done it before and I didn't know what to expect. So anticipation is what's causing that catastrophic thinking, which is holding us back from just enjoying life and trying it. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
What's the worst? And I want you to think that's the catastrophic thinking. What's the worst that can happen? I drop my bike and it doesn't drive anymore. I throw it in a truck and I send it back home and I sell it. Worst thing that can happen. I could get into an accident. Absolutely. But with the training that I had, I took the steps to have proper training. So I didn't have that kind of an accident and I was being aware. So yeah, there are really opportunities for catastrophic things to happen. But if we are being mindful of them and prepare, then we shouldn't have the opportunity to have those catastrophic things happen. So if I'm on the top of a building, I do this thing called the skyscraper exercise. But if I'm on top of the building and the building doesn't have rails, do you think I'm putting my toes at the end of that building? Especially if you're up there with me, I wouldn't give you the opportunity to push me off. Not to say you would do that. I'm only joking.
Not to say that I would.
Not to say you wouldn't. There are days I'm sure you want to.
Anticipation is making me laugh.
See what we did there, folks? That's awesome. But this all makes sense. See how it interconnects and it goes back to taking 100% responsibility. And I'm going to leave you with another little tidbit. And I love this, is it's called green hair. And if I said to you, Vince, oh my gosh, I love your green hair, what would you say to me?
I probably would ask, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you probably think I was a little batty because inside you don't have green hair. And I insist you haven't green hair. So you may want to prescribe, some medication for me. Who knows? But the reality is it's not what I say to you. It's what you say to yourself when I stop talking. That's 100% responsibility. You know who you are inside. If it hurts your feelings or makes you feel uncomfortable or disengaged or upset, you start feeling these negative emotions, maybe we touched a nerve about how you really think about yourself, or touched a nerve on what you're sensitive to because of how you feel about yourself. And if we all would go inside, which sometimes we all have to do, it's like, ooh, why did those words hurt so much? Maybe I have to look at something within myself. If we go inside and look within ourselves, we're going to find out what it was that really was setting that emotion off that made me feel oversensitive or sensitive to what you were saying to me. That makes sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah. So if you're sensitive and like, no, I don't have green hair, That's crazy. If you react that way, it'd be like, what? Why are you reacting that way? Because I must have touched something in you that you really have a sensitivity to. And we need to look within ourselves, not blame somebody else, take 100% responsibility and discover, why is it that they're telling me that? Why is it that they're getting that feeling?
Well, and that's, that's the hardest part, is to step back and ask that question, right? Because that really requires a kind of a self-reflective confidence that you may not like the answer, but the better thing is to know what the answer is.
And when you have that answer, here's the good thing. You have two choices. You either do something to change it, or you're content with having that answer and you're going to continue to be that way. Only two choices, my friends. Any last words in the last few seconds?
I do not have green hair. I do not have green hair.
Okay, Sam, I am.
Dr. Seuss moment coming on. No, this
having flashbacks.
I think that your responsibility was where we started, 100% responsibility for things. I think accepting that first seems like it's kind of like the first step. Like, I'm going to take full responsibility for myself and my actions. And then moving forward, the rest gets a little easier because now I can talk to you about, what can I do to take control of this and make the outcome a better outcome.
Yeah. And it all goes back to awareness. So,
right. And not having fear.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, Vince, thank you so much. This has been such a great time with you. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne, and he's
Vince Perrotta.
Good for you. I hope we've earned the privilege of your time. Again, thank you for being here. Look for us every Saturday at 3 p.m. at JVC Broadcasting or on iHeartRadio. Until next time, I am Lorianne Casdia and
Vince Perrotta.
Play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up
big.
It was awesome. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Vince.